I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome everybody. Marion County Commission meeting, Monday, October 27th, 12:30 p.m. Start off with public forum. If there's anybody in the public that has anything to say, limited to 3 minutes. Anybody online? All right, close the public forum. Agenda approval, is there anything you need to add? Hearing none, we'll move forward.
Brad won't be here, so we will not have the attorney-client.
Move forward as presented without Brad. Administrative business.
Okay, first we have change orders, and it's all the same that was in the packet.
Beat me to it. Liking it.
All right, next we have the minutes of October 20.
Everyone had a chance to review the minutes. Any corrections? Or a motion to approve?
I move that we approve the minutes.
Got a motion? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Great, then we have early checks in the amount of $45,416.65.
Any questions with any of the warrants? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Make motion. Second
Dave, all those in favor?
it.
Aye. 5-0.
Say more.
Warren? Yeah. For time machine.
And that is all I have.
You previously designated your voting delegate and alternate for the K-Camp meeting, and all I have is the form that just confirms that needs a signature.
Page.
Yeah. just a quick announcement, there are no commodities for the month of October due to funding at the federal level and state level. And then on the table, you do have a disaster declaration resolution. And the reason that we're presenting that is because with the damage to the bridge at Goldenrod and 290th and ongoing rain projected, that we may end up over that threshold. So there is not a state declaration at this point, but this would just be a local disaster declaration. Here, she's got the one with it already filled in, sorry, 17.
Move that we approve the disaster proclamation resolution 2025-17. Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay, and then in your packet, you had asked for the resolution to establish the fees and mileage reimbursement for jurors to be in the packet for discussion and or adoption today. And so that was in your packet. If you move ahead today, that would be 2025-18, and it would be that the change would be effective in January of 2026.
I move that we accept.
Resolution number?
2025-18.
Okay. For a second?
I'll second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
That was coming out of the general fund, wasn't it?
Yes, there's a line item in the judicial district budget, but that budget is in the general fund. And so, yeah. Okay, just a little bit of background on a couple of the items that are on the agenda. So the first one that's at 12:45 is transfer station options. And just some background, especially for the newer commissioners, that we've been talking a long time, like a couple of years probably, about whether the county wants to continue operating the transfer station as a county concern, or whether we want to retain ownership of it and hire a company to operate it, or whether we want to sell it. So there are just a lot of different options that the board has been talking about. One other option that probably should be considered is if we retain it as a county, a county entity and a county concern, that maybe we look at putting a full-time employee there as a manager. Because right now we have, we're splitting that duty with several departments. And so it's getting to a point now where it is more specialized, and it would be good to have somebody there, for a full-time management. So anyway, the very beginning of this process is just kind of getting information, and this is general information that you have here. We don't have names of any potential, I guess it's all estimates and just general information. We have not reached out or received information from multiple vendors at this point. We just wanted to kind of show that we're starting to look into it and let you all have a discussion about what you want to do. So Josh should be coming in here shortly, but I just want to give you that background on that. So this is not anything that we are very far along on. It's just in the information gathering stage and looking at what costs might look like. Another thing on the agenda that I'll just give you a little bit of background on. After last week's discussion about the Peabody building project, I had questions from Cody about what exactly you all wanted. And then I also had the architect that we had previously working with us reach out because he heard that you were looking at scaling back and doing it maybe more in phases. So rather than me try to figure out and do an RFP for Cody, they both agreed to just come and be present, and that way you can all kind of hash things out and discuss what you really want and need. Cody did mention to me that having the grading site plan and the footing drawn up would be extremely helpful, because any number that he gives on that would be a guess at this point. And also then the, whether when you get to the point of where you know what you want, the process of allowing a bid process for your contractors would be probably something that you should be looking at as a public agency. So I did put some information on the table there for you, which we'll get into a little bit later, but that was the background of why that is listed that way. I just figure let's just bring them all in and let you all talk. So that's what that's about. Yeah. And then the rest of the information here in this packet, Josh has put together. And so there are a lot of pages here.
Afternoon. Kind of been going over the fees and everything for C&D at the transfer station and other things. Right now we're sitting at $50 a ton. Next year, the cost at Butler County is going up to 46. It'll go up every year till in 2029 is when the last one they've got, and it's going to be $52 by the time we're done. So I just got down, how many tons that we've used and what we've done in the past 4 years. But I'd like to look at, the different, going up on our C&D and doing a little different on charging. Because years and years past, we've never charged for anything under $300.
300 pounds.
300 pounds, sorry. 300 pounds. But we get a lot of people that bring in just under that because they've found the loophole. I'd like to try doing anything under 340 pounds, $10 minimum fee, to be able to recoup some of that, because you get people bring in that much, you get 10 people, that's over that's over a ton. It's right there, so we're losing out on some money there. So,
So the minimum would be?
huh?
What would be the minimum fee?
I was saying $10, minimum fee under $340 or 340 pounds is a $10 fee.
You see a problem with that?
Is that enough?
Yeah, because 340 pounds is actually, I did the math, if we went up to $60, that's where I'll figure what our minimum weight is for 10 tons. But at $60 a ton, is 340 pounds is over $10. So I figured, right there would be a good cutoff. Anything under that's $10. And then we wouldn't have to worry about doing the few small dollars. It's just gonna be a minimum. And then when we get over that 340 pounds, just charge by how we normally charge.
Will that $10 be easy to collect on these small amounts? Basically, or hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. I know there's, talk, maybe, later on we talk about adding debit card or a credit card and doing that, because I know a lot of people come in, want to pay with credit card too, but I'm not gonna really hit that right now. That's just later on, but it'd be easier probably getting that 10 out from some of them people, so.
Whether it created more collection difficulties than it would be doing
Yeah.
at that point. Counterproductive.
Yeah, if we get through this and we go with everything, we can signs up and put in the newspaper and get that all, that give everybody heads up to start it.
Adjust it in the future if we need to.
Yeah,
If it's a starting point.
yeah, it's a starting point. So,
So how is it on recycling? I mean, are people pay you money?
yeah, a lot of people just come up and give us $5 and this is free
It's
recycle.
easy to
Yeah, it's easy,
get them trained now.
Yeah. We've had a few that they sit back and wait until they get busy and they'll run up, throw their stuff in and back off and leave. So let's start locking that up, and they can't do that no more. So we find ways around stopping things. I would, is that something that we can look at doing?
Yeah. I'd make a motion to set the minimum at $10 on C&D.
Effective what date?
December 1st.
December 1st, probably.
Give them time just to do signs and paper and just January 1st.
I mean, we can go January 1 and that give enough time, because some of this other stuff, I'd like to start at January 1 too, that I'd like to go through, so.
January 1, that's my motion.
Second it.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
Aye. All right. 4 and 1.
Question, Josh, are employees doing a good job of collecting that?
Yes, they are.
Because I know in the past, a lot of that stuff slipped through. It shouldn't have.
Yeah, they're pretty good at, collecting, right now with the mattresses, we have people that try slipping through the door and stuff, and they'll go over and they'll stop and talk to them and stuff and get the money out, and they'll take it in and write a receipt and take it back, so, yeah. Doing the option A.
Yeah, I gave them a little bit of background as far as why we started looking at these different options,
Okay.
so.
Okay.
The board wants to go ahead and talk about those options.
Yeah.
that Josh put in the packet.
Is there any questions on the options right now?
What do we need to do to start the process of looking at the difference? between private management or outright.
That's kind of what this is about, to start the process.
I mean,
That's,
We have to,
We,
can we do that on our own, or do we have to have a consultant for that too?
well, you've got some information in your packet today with different options. And so Josh, maybe you could just explain what you've prepared.
yeah, let's see, our current option, that is what we're doing right now, is just us hauling to it.
And right now we're going to Butler County.
Butler County. It's 99 miles round trip. Everything is averaged over the 4 years. I've done a 12-month, for next year, starting 12 months. So it's all, just kind of shows what we pay, besides our tons. We have our tipping fee that we pay, and then our driver's salary I've got in there. Shows what we pay him, why he's hauling, how many tons we've hauled there, how many tons of C&D we've hauled. And then we got it figured all the way down to what it costs us per ton,
Including fuel.
including the fuel, the driver, and
We don't have a wear and tear figure for equipment
we
in there.
don't have that figured in.
And then also, just to keep in mind, it's not a full 4-year average because the 4th year is just year to
Yeah.
date. So
Up to,
we realize it's not a full 4-year average. So it would actually probably be a little bit higher than what we see.
but hauling the Butler, we're gonna average right around $52 to $53 per ton. That's the driver, the fuel, on our tipping fee. The tipping fee for next year would be $46 a ton.
I guess that's our only option at this point.
Well,
Yeah.
no, I've got another option, which is I've talked to another company and dealt with them. And they shot us, it was $38.50. But we're taking a 2.5 hour round trip. We're over doubling it. We're going to be about a 6-hour round trip, which means another truck, another driver, possibly more trailers later on down the road. That one driver will get one load in a day on stuff because it's,
Instead of 2 that we're
Instead of 2.
typically taking.
and that, the same cost of what I figured for Butler, I figured here, but in this option A was the 2 salaries for drivers. And we kind of figure we're running around $60 to $61, $59 to $61 a ton. And that's just for that tonnage. And then our third one they also shot to us was if we haul our recycling to them, they would drop the price by $3. But our recycling is what we have now. We pay $90 a ton. We go up to $100 a ton. And then, our tons, MSW tonnage price would drop down to around $56, $57 a ton.
And MSW is the municipal solid waste, which is the rest of the trash.
So, as far as what I see, sticking with what we have right now is the best, is price wise. But, if this company would stay the same in the tipping fees 2-3 years down the road, we could go either way.
I also did present an option with just an estimate where if they would just come in with their own equipment and run everything and haul everything. And that was about $143 or something.
$143 per ton. And we figured,
And then we wouldn't have equipment costs. Would that be packing too?
that would be
So-
them running everything.
If we look at our current operations budget and we take that divided by the number of tons we process a year, it's about $137, I think, when we looked at it, that we're paying right now to run it ourselves, and that's without a full-time manager.
So they would be on the floor.
Yeah, they would just,
that would manage it.
And we haven't reached out, we wanted to have a conversation with the board to see what you want us to pursue or what you want us to look at, because this is just general estimates with, really rough numbers and just one company. And so if you all want to do something, we need to open that up to various companies to provide a set proposal. But we need to know what you want that proposal to be.
My concern with going further is maybe if the weather's good or summertime, hauling is one thing. Dead of winter when it's cold, the roads could be icy, snowy, could cause us problems that we do not want. Would be a thought I have on
So would you,
not doing that, doubling that distance that the trucks are on the road. Or even the liability of having an accident or something more mild.
I think, my opinion is if we're gonna continue to do it in-house, we just keep things the way they are. But if you're saying $136 a ton roughly,
137, if we look at what we're operating
you're
right now.
talking
143.
43. And then we also haven't factored in the wear and tear on the trucks or the trailers.
Right.
We need to pursue that, in my opinion. We need to pursue, because once you factor in the wear and tear and the truck replacements, the trailer replacements.
The trailers,
You're talking about private management or selling it?
Private management.
put it up for bid and see what's out there. Any interest or? We don't have to accept anything.
No, yeah, but I'm intrigued. I'd like to know what they
I
would
want to see
propose.
what your temperature of everyone else is. Does anybody else?
I would, I'm not a big fan of recycling because I don't think half that stuff that we pay $130 per ton to send to recycling, I think it ends up in the landfill with the rest of the stuff. I think they high grade that stuff and pull out what they can make money on, and they dump the rest, and they charge us a premium for it, so. But I would agree that if there are professional services out there that do this for a living that would be willing to take this over and do it.
Assume all the liability, the risks.
The liability, the risk, and for virtually the same price, I think we should go for it.
We still own the facilities.
That's one option.
Everyone's just selling it all.
Everyone's selling it all.
And we have not there are some legal things we would really need to research on that option, which we haven't had a chance to do.
Jump through on that, but it might be interesting to know if it would be interest out there in doing that.
That would raise everybody's personal trash.
Right, well, we would have to see what impact that could have for the
Probably have
the people
a
here.
lot of disclosure.
Because I don't
Someone
think-
just went for, they didn't tell anybody they were doing that.
You got any problem with it, Mike, as far as seeing what they would charge us to manage it?
Well, going back from when we took it back over from Rex and them, to keep control of it, I think is important to a point, however we do that, or have some say in even if we have it managed rather than sell it entirely. I think we may end up with an option we don't like in the future, or wouldn't have the say in the future if we go to that extent. And that was kind of advice of former commissioners back from 15, 20 years ago.
Is it a consensus,
As we set this, what we do now.
get a management proposal?
Okay, so this won't be an immediate thing, so it's gonna take some time, but I just felt like at least finally we're talking about this. Because I know that has been a goal commission prior to this, so.
See no reason to set a December 1st deadline or anything.
All right, in the meantime, can we look at, because we still, I mean, I would anticipate that this process would probably take the majority of the next budget year if, you know, so we probably need to consider fees. And so Josh has put in your packet basically some other suggestions for fees in there. For tires.
There's the
yeah.
C&D waste fees, we can do the C&D waste fees. I've kind of proposed, going up, for next year up to $10, and the next few years just jumping at every $5 per year. As everything is going up, I've got $60 for next year, going up to $60 is that.
Instead of 50.
Instead of staying at 50, because try to recoup some of that back from Holland too, so.
And then there are other, you can see the proposed fees for tires.
Do we wanna take these jumps, vote on that every year and change it as opposed to a long range deal?
Yeah, we can do that, we can look at just next year alone, while I was there, might as well just throw it all in there and see what, everybody's thought on that was too, so.
I would at least say we ought to up it for 26, I guess. If that will match our budget better for the upcoming year, at least do that, not go that far.
Are our tire recycling costs going up?
We get a lot of businesses that are hauling into us right now, that bring in and drop off and stuff at the.
I mean, you're talking about, now you charge $3 for a car and pickup tire, you're talking about raising that to $5. Are our cost for recycling that jumping up that?
Yeah, it is, and really what we do is it goes to the landfill. We have to cut them up and they go to the landfill too, so that's where they go with them. I mean, if we wanna look in recycling them to like different companies that come and pick them up, then I need to research that and figure that one out. But
Yep, we have a tire cutting machine, and currently if you cut them down to a specific size, they're just part of the mixed
It messed up.
municipal solid
They
waste.
just go in
Just made the
the
last-
trailer and go on.
Yeah, last year, yeah. No, that tire machine is for Road and Bridge that we
okay.
paid for today. That's for their shop.
When we bought it
What was that tire machine
6 or 7 years ago.
cost us?
oh, my guys, two to three of them running down there in an hour's time can cut over a ton of tires. And a ton of tires is roughly around 60 tires per ton is what we kind of average out at.
And you
So
wanna know what we paid for that machine?
we paid, I was thinking it was right around 30,000, 35,000 is what we paid for that tire cutter.
Factor all that in. Time and equipment.
I guess while we're looking at options, can we look at an option to have somebody come in and pick those tires up and actually recycle them? I mean,
I can get a couple companies, I can call them, one for sure off the top of my head I can think of, but I can call and see what what they would charge and stuff. It's been 2-3 years ago, I think they came and picked up a bunch from us, so. But yeah, I can research that and send it back.
Maybe table any increase on tires, but if you feel,
We can go to January 1 deadline to figure that out again. Couple of months to research that and get back to us. Suit me.
C&D, Mike said he was in favor of 2026.
We have to cover our costs.
No, I'm just saying, looking at everybody else in favor. a motion, Mike.
Move that we increase our C and D rates for 2026, whatever Joxer's recommendation on.
$60.
Second.
I'll second it.
You can have it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bring it back up again next year.
Okay.
In the hands of future commission.
Do you have anything else?
Recycling, wanna hit that one, cause I've got a couple on the packet for recycling.
Oh.
What it cost us.
Yeah, so when we were working on the budget too, you said that you wanted to put, so I gave you the draft and then you said, and it did not have recycling in it. And then you said, well, let's put it in and as long as it pays for itself. Well, I couldn't increase our spending at that point for for any reason, because we had already published. So it's still not in the budget, but if we bring money in and we're able to spend it, we can amend the budget to include it as we're going through the year next year. So Josh did prepare some information on recycling if you're interested in that at this point.
I went through, Hills, Marion is now hauling, or Nisley's coming in doing Marion's and Peabody's. So we just have Hillsborough, so we only make about 2 trips every month down there. And if it runs out to about $105 to $106 a ton is what we are paying. Same with our fuel, our driver, and it's $90 a ton. As long as their increase doesn't go up or anything, we want to use the money for reimbursement. I don't know if we look at, talk about the individual recycling goes up from $5 to $10. And then I don't know about jumping up to, or we keep the $5 the same and jump the tons up to $110 a ton for recycling to be able to cover everything. And that should, in theory, keep everything flowing where it's paying for itself. We don't have a budget for it.
So you're tying one trailer up just for recycling
Yeah,
that you can't use,
Yep.
cause it's always got some in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. About every other week we'll run it. It's open for the week, but then when we get that recycling, then it sits for a
One of
week.
the old trailers for that?
One of the newers, because it's got a solid tarp on it and it doesn't allow the trash or the recycle to blow out. That stuff, it stays better in there with the solid tarp. If it rains or snows, it's not getting wet with the solid tarp.
So you're going twice.
Twice a month.
About twice a month, just depending on the.
It's tying up our equipment,
Yeah.
don't make any money with it.
Also, don't recycle. Then you're adding 2 trips a month to the landfill. If they continue, if they just put it in the trash rather than put it in the recycle bin.
Is the recycling harder to get a full weight load as opposed to anything else?
Recycling's so bulky. Usually when we go every other week, the trailer's full, but we're only really hauling out about 10 tons, 9 to 10 tons,
To 20 or.
as opposed to 18 to 20 ton with MSW.
And that's only per cost per ton, per rate. Same fuel to haul 10 ton, almost doubles if you're only getting 10 ton on. Which would be where I would figure from if we need to make that come out.
What's a new tarp cost?
I think they're $700 to $800. The last time I'd ordered one was right around there per tarp.
One of the old trailers that
So all the recycling we're hauling off right now is what people actually drop off at the transfer station and what we pick up from Hillsborough, correct?
Yes.
We don't pick it up.
Yeah, Hillsborough brings it over to us, but
They bring their big bin, how do they deal their big bins? Do
they use their trash truck, they go in and stuff. On Thursdays is their days, that's all he does is they pick up the recycling, and then Friday morning when we open for recycling, they bring it over, drop it, and we push it in the trailer.
They have a separate, what do you call it, container or whatever.
Yeah, they do have separate containers over there.
They're not getting it back out of a bin, they're getting it out of their container.
Yeah, they have recycling containers.
And run it like once or twice a week. I think I'm right.
And then are they paying us by the ton?
Yeah, they pay us by the ton. If I remember, I think we said it when we first started, it was $82 a ton is what they pay.
So we're subsidizing Hillsborough.
Well, yeah, we did that for the city, cause when we started that, you know, we figured it, I think we were paying the $38 a ton for that, for the recycling, cause that's what it was costing us then to go to the landfill.
So do we need to renegotiate with Hillsborough and recoup our, if we're saying now it costs us $105 a ton to haul this stuff off? Do we need to talk to Hillsborough and say, this is what it's costing us, if we're gonna continue to do this, this is what it's gonna cost you?
To take it.
That would be done by whatever you decide to charge for recycling regardless of who's bringing it. But yes, I think you would want to have a personal conversation with them to let them know.
You're losing money on recycling.
And the reason why it was less, subsidy, it was basically trying to factor in the dollars that are already, what is it, the special assessment that, for the trash. It's already getting paid, so you're taking it out of the trash, putting it into recycling. So there is already some money being paid towards it. And then the major amount more than what the tipping fee was what we were charging Hillsborough. So tipping fees.
Kind of like smoke and mirrors, you're not
Well,
sure. Yeah, it's hard to explain.
You're taking away the $50 a ton and you're putting it into $106 a ton.
Like I said, if we're only hauling half as many tons, it's basically doubling the freight rate, which would be considerable in today's cost.
We can bring that back on another day if you'd like.
I just trying to think about it, but it was, we went from $38 a ton tipping fee, now we're at 50-some dollars a ton. We're looking at 60. And we're only 106. Might be barking up the wrong tree. Because you're gonna be offsetting your tonnage, right? Instead of at $38 a ton, where we're offsetting it right now, up to $50 a ton. We're gonna go $15 or $12 in the wrong direction.
But you're hauling less cubic feet of it.
Yeah, we're only hauling
Kind of
less than 20 tons.
freight charge, you know. It costs you $1,000 for a trailer with one box or crib full.
No, I'm just saying, it's just, if they take it out of the recycling and they throw it in the trash, all it does is bulk up your trash.
Could make whole trash cheaper, maybe.
And volume is volume.
Well, I mean, looking at the tonnage, if you're averaging, go back up here to,
Averaging $2,000 a month on recycling.
it looks like tons per load, 25, 26, 31, 33. So if you figure 26 tons, an average 26 tons per load versus 9 tons per load on recycle, or let's round it up to 10, that's 2.5 loads of trash. I mean, at 10 tons, you got 2.5 trucks, of what you can get in one truck of trash, so.
I follow what you're saying, it's just, you take it out of the recycling, you throw it in the trash, you're gonna wind up with a lighter trash load.
Not if you compact it.
It'll all get crunched down anyway.
Anyway, I just,
I think this one's gonna wait for some more
Okay.
information.
I'd like to see what Nisley is charging Marion
I would too,
for their recycling.
if they would haul it.
It's nicely charges the customer. It's $15 a month, I believe, and they pick up twice a month is what I had read before.
They supply a container and pick it up.
Yeah. They supply the container and they come by, pick it up on Friday. And they pick up trash at Peabody, bring it and drop it off, and I think that truck then turns around and does the recycling here. And then
Takes it back with them.
Takes it back.
All the way back to where their home base is.
Yeah.
They make a pretty long day out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my point is, I don't think, we're not set up to be recyclers. Same thing, it's always gonna be a money-losing proposition for us. Not that recycling's bad, but you're not set up for it, you can't.
They still doing any of that up at Fort Riley?
No,
They're not doing that. That was that didn't cost us anything. That was a good deal.
yeah. All in plastic bottles.
Falls on at Fort Riley, took it for free. Quit doing that.
Alright,
So are we just gonna,
Table it and talk about it later.
I don't wanna dictate that, but
Well, I mean,
So you're asking for an increase at this point, or basically if we want to today.
Yeah, if we want to today, if we wanna, it
How
doesn't,
much is that?
I would recommend if we wanna be able to recoup everything as going to recycling, $110 a ton.
Make that motion, if we bump that up to 110, if that takes care of it.
the motion.
Now, let Hillsborough have a chance to respond to that before we vote. Basically, that's what we're doing. I mean, they're committed to recycling because they spent 40 or 50,000 on recycling bins when they started that. So I know they're not gonna give up on it.
No, I was planning on having a discussion with them, but there's a motion on the table.
Yep.
Second. Motion dies.
I would make a motion that we discuss options with Hillsborough and bring them to the table before we make a decision, and see what our options are.
I would second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. One more thing, it's not transfer station. Our budget doesn't allow for, chemicals to be sold out and then purchased back in the same year. Like any of the revenue that we receive, so that we can go ahead and take that revenue and spend it, so that way we can keep the chemical bought at a previous year so we can get cheaper pricing.
well, I mean, that's kind of not an all-in-one kind of question.
Okay.
So if chemical is purchased at the current year prices, which maybe would be anticipated to be lower than next year, as long as we don't go over our budget authority in spending that, when we sell the chemical, we just count it as revenue. But for it to be able to count as a budget credit, which would be a reimbursement, it has to be an offset for the current year. So
Doable.
it would be doable as
Okay.
long as the budget allows it, as long as we have enough money. Enough money and enough authority. So if you have a more specific question, maybe we can visit later.
I'm just looking at it like a cash flow thing. I'm private business. I know this is not private business, so it's touchy, but in
Right.
private business, you can go ahead and reinvest your funds, and keep your capital working the best for
Keep
you.
inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can do that with, but we can only sell it basically, for what we pay plus what it costs us to.
Yeah, we're, to sell it, we actually can only charge half to 3/4 of what I buy it for. So I bought it for $10 a gallon, I could sell it at $7.50 a gallon. But I can also add a 25% fee on top of that for storage, electricity to cover the other. That way I can bring it back up to my $10 and at least.
We can't make money.
No, I know, but if we could.
But you're wanting, what I think I know other counties do it is what they buy, they buy their chemical, they sell it and that goes back in and then you take that money that we put back in
Replace it.
to buy more chemical in.
But it's looking,
So that way you
it's
keep
looking at
your shelf.
how private business usually prepays for the next year's input, because you get a cheaper price. But
It just depends on-
the way we operate doesn't work quite that way.
Well, it just depends on how you budget your revenue.
If you had a year where we're spending as much on chemical, you probably have enough cash to maybe do that.
Yeah.
My guess is in a year like this, the chemical probably went out.
Chemicals probably gone already.
We sold a lot in chemical and I bought a lot in chemical this year. A lot more than I have in years past.
Because of the way things grew this year.
I was just trying to preemptively get ahead of. Seems like every year everything gets more expensive. So if we can get the shelves stocked this year, it's gonna be better for next year.
Yeah, and there's nothing that says we can't do that as long as we have money and budget authority to purchase.
Okay. Something to think about. I'd like to see how that other counties do that.
Okay.
Use the mill levy.
No.
Anything else?
I'm just stab that one in there because you got that department too.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys.
Don't get stuck.
Oh. That time.
Well, I mean, we
Yeah.
have Mickey sitting here, so.
I move that we recess into executive session and to discuss the job performance of specific employees pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Item 1 for personal matters, non-elected personnel with the board, Tina and Mick Price for
10,
15.
15?
15 minutes until 1:40. Open session to resume back in commission chambers following the closed session. Second by Kent. All those in favor? Aye. Aye.
Tina and I have come up with a plan, and I don't think any of it's crazy enough that you guys would be adamantly against it, so.
All we can do is do your best.
Out of executive session, no decisions made.
If any of you guys have any questions, give me a call, and I'll run you guys through it, so.
I think Brad's working on some stuff too, supposed to be.
Okay,
As far as I go.
Okay,
okay.
so am I
Yeah.
good to go? Alright, thank you.
Thanks, Mick.
You good?
Oh,
How's your road?
tell Brian that I'll call him back in a minute. He's calling me.
Okay.
Everybody know.
Oh, sorry.
Excuse me.
Steve's taking a seat today, huh?
For the beginning.
You gonna push him into it?
Then I'll let the numbers guy take care of everything else.
Going a little long today, sorry.
Okay, ready? Gentlemen, I'm sure you've received one of these maps in your packet for the weekend. Is there any questions or concerns about this? Reason being is we'd like to try to start planning to order material for the winter time for next year and have it staged throughout the county. So, we'd like to try to stick to this plan and go with it for next year. So, any questions or comments, concerns about it or anything?
On the Pilsen Road where we had the issues with the blade patching this year, I see that's on the list for blade patching and
Yes.
chip sealing next year. What's the status of repairing what's?
We finally came across a new kind of oil. We did a test sampling there on 230th, between 230th and 240th for almost 2 miles. And we did a different kind of oil that seems to adhere better to the existing microsurface. And this also sticks with our material as well. So we feel very comfortable with using that type of oil beginning next year.
And that was done what, Thursday?
Yes,
Wednesday?
Thursday. We were scheduled for
Okay.
Wednesday, but then something happened. But anyway. So we just did the worst patches on the road.
I thought the small patches on there seemed as good as compared to before, where
Right.
possibly have a good chance. We'll know next spring how.
Yeah, I mean, we got all winter to see if they hold up or not. That'll give us a good indicator whether we continue on with that or do we have to do a complete overhaul on the Pilsen Road.
So I think hopefully if there's any good weather yet, maybe we can still patch a few more of them worst spots, maybe, but yet this fall, and maybe not.
It's not gonna happen this fall. Okay. But the main thing that we did that I guess it would be late spring, maybe springtime. I gave you guys a proposal, first of all. We had this is the revised one, this is the original one. The two big things, roads that are different from our proposed one earlier this year was we were planning on blade patching and chip sealing the 190th road, the Hillsboro Marion Road on 190th, the old highway, if you want to call it that. So we thought comfortable enough that we can wait one more year and go ahead and add those miles for the Pilsen Road. And also as well, the big change was the diamond gravel road rebuilds. We're planning on going from Highway 56 all the way to the county line. We still need to do what was planned earlier this year, was 360th west of Highway 77 to Ramona. The material's already there. We still got crushed concrete that's available to us too. So we've already paid for the rock, the gray rock, the surface rock, which is there, as well as the base rock is still there. So there's not going to be any additional funding on that. So
Just gotta have better weather to get her done.
yeah.
This year.
And then we also added the blade patching on the West Gossel Road, which is 1 mile from Alamo to Meridian on 120th. We had the same situation as far as the material of blade patching. It just wasn't doing as well as far as the surface goes. So we're planning on just doing a light replacing the surface on it as far as blade patching and then chip sealing it over that. The county lake is in great shape with blade patch. It just needs to be chip sealed in the inner circle of Lakeshore Drive.
So that was initially on this year, but then it's pushed to next year because of time, is that right?
Yep. Not necessarily because of budget, but just because of
Weather
weather. Well, I would say almost 100% of it's due to weather. We just can't do it all, so.
Just couldn't be as efficient as we normally would due to the weather issues.
No objections, other concerns? Okay, well, we'll get busy to start ordering material and chip seal material and go from there. Where's Doug? There you are, hiding back here. Okay, Doug's gonna take over here with the bridge discussion.
Feel free to stick around.
I'll be here.
Okay.
I'll back you up. It's just like beating up on you.
I think he puts me in bad situation. Good afternoon. We are going to be talking about 2 bridges this afternoon. First one that's on the agenda is Bridge 204. We had reported that KDOT had come in and requested that bridge be closed, so we have accomplished that. It is barricaded and it is closed. You asked for cost estimates for what it would look like to build a new bridge. So I will tell you what I've learned thus far. Spoke to the engineer who did our 310th and Mustang Bridge last year. That bridge was a 50-foot bridge, and it was estimated 2 years ago at $230,000. And that was primarily bridge only, bridge materials, and the county did all the work associated with the install. That similar type of bridge, the engineer who did that work did review the intersection now at 130th, or the bridge at 130th and Remington. And looking at the stream, the bridge upstream on 130th is 55 foot long. He was suggesting somewhere around a 60-foot span for the bridge length. Approximately 5,000 per linear foot is a good guesstimate of what a bridge would run. So you can do the easy math, that's 300,000. That is bridge materials. It does not include geotech, removal of the old bridge, grading to the new bridge, pre-construction engineering, inspections. So I did an analysis of other projects, and really our total projects are running about twice the price of the bridge. So you can do the easy math again. We're in the $600,000 range for a bridge replacement. If we were to do a lot of the work ourselves, which I would anticipate, we could do the bridge removal, some of the grading, but we will definitely need to have an engineer overseeing this to make sure that we get the geotechnical, we make sure that we get Terracon involved with the hydrology. We do not want to get in a situation where we build a bridge and then they don't like it and we got to shut it down. So we'll still have those engineering costs.
Or it fails.
No, it won't fail. Just somebody may not like the way we put it in. Yeah. As far as options on when to do that, obviously money. I did check into the application process for any sort of bridge programs out there. KDOT does have an off system and a KLBIP program. The application process should begin in June or July of 2026. On our last round we applied for, we didn't get an answer until September. So if we want to go with some funding options through KDOT, we're looking at least a year before we get a go-ahead, yes, it's a go, probably another year to actually have a bridge in, year and a half. The only positive thing is the local bridge engineer for KDOT says we would get, and I quote, points for this project because KDOT was the one that instigated the closure.
Yeah, so proving that you need the money for something.
KDOT has already pretty much said that bridge has to be replaced.
The process for the funding is strung out quite a ways.
Yeah, we couldn't even do an application until June or July under the current, as we understand the time frame.
What is the hardship, do you think, Steve, of the people needing that bridge on a daily basis?
I know it's not a school route, now, we've talked with all the owners and so forth, mainly their concern was just getting more gravel on their other way out, if you wanna call it. And we're addressing those issues.
So it won't be a really extreme hardship if we wait to help get the funding possibly?
I have not heard any negativity with that, being that.
I mean, if they understand what we're up against and the costs involved, they'll be, can we?
And I don't
If they're
recall,
patient
I think
enough
it's all
for-
pasture land going up to the south, and we're going down to the south. So I don't really see any.
Quite as much as frequent uses. That would be my only concern, is we don't have anybody just extremely hostile. If this is gonna be over your project and need to leave it closed in the meantime.
So I suppose you have options of replacing it or closing it permanently, which would have a process attached to that, which includes public hearing and all that.
In light of the goldenrod bridge issue, I would say that we not move forward with this bridge at 130th and Remington until we address the goldenrod bridge, because I think it's a much more critical bridge.
I agree.
And, well,
And I've got some information on that too,
Well, I don't-
if you wanna put it together.
well, I don't think we need to immediately look at abandoning that bridge on 130th and Remington. We've got bigger fish to fry right now, and I would,
We need to take any other action since we already did the emergency road closure.
I don't think right at the moment.
And the application is until almost this summer, right? So as long as we took action then, we would be.
we can let, but I think we need to focus on this other bridge. In June, when that comes up, we can put in for the funding at that time and
Good with that, Steve?
move forward, but I think beyond that, these
Yeah,
estimates.
that one needs to be on the back burner. It's already closed if we're addressing the condition of the other road going in and out. We got bigger fish to fry at this point, much bigger.
Well, we'll go to that then. On 290th and Goldenrod, I'm assuming everybody is apprised of the fact that we've lost the south approach to that bridge and part of the bridge. I did notify the Emergency Watershed Protection group that we were working with to get rid of the brush drift piles in there. I've notified them. Unfortunately, it is a government agency that is partially funded through federal funds, and because of the government shutdown, we basically have had no updates since October 1st. I have not heard back from them. Steve had requested that I contact Cook, Flat, and Strobel, which have done our bridge inspections. And I spoke to Gene Peterson, and he will be out on Thursday to evaluate the bridge and see if he has any recommendations as to, can the bridge that still stands be added to again, or is it damaged
Total failure.
beyond recovery? Yeah, check the viability of that bridge. Don't really have anything else to give you on that at this point.
So that's next Thursday when they're scheduled.
This Thursday.
This Thursday.
Are there,
That whole deal is on the commission's back. We should have told him to get out there and get that stuff off of there. We knew what kind of year it was. I'm just as much to blame as the whole commission is.
I
Commission
agree.
dropped the rock on that, and we've got a highly used road out there with a school, with a huge dairy. And I mean, I've got people crying on my doorstep. I mean, we've even got, the river's even changed the channel at this point. The river's going a different direction. I mean, we're looking at, this is a multi-million-dollar issue out there. And, you know, if that bridge is not salvageable at all, wow. I mean, I don't know if there's been any traffic counts on that road in the past. It'd be nice to know kind of an idea. I mean, I could just make a guess on how many cars are on that road on a given day, but it's a bunch.
Just to remind you guys too, we have another EWP bridge that we can't get to right now to evaluate, and I'm kind of afraid to see how that looks like too.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that one.
On the bridge inspection report from 2024, it says 40 vehicles per day on that bridge.
That seems really low, but whatever.
So we don't have any information to move forward though with this one.
Once I meet with the engineer, if the commission wants, we can ask him, give us a spitball of what that thing's gonna run.
Please get a salvageability standpoint to base that on.
and with the damage done there, I would ask the engineer to look at potentially an alternate route for that bridge, because that's a lot of damage to fix. And to get it to hold, you may be better off rerouting that road, moving it a quarter mile upstream. I mean, just don't say, we wanna put this bridge back right where it's at. What are our options, and is there a better option than?
Road right of ways and stuff. Yeah.
Take some long-term planning, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But,
If there's a better option to go somewhere else, then maybe we ought to at least look at it.
yeah, that's all I'm saying. No. But I think, I mean, I don't know that those landowners up there would, they might be willing to work with you and make something work. Are there utilities that are disrupted with this washout? I see
Water district, got a line there, I believe.
I just see in this photo, I see looks like a conduit that used to be attached to the bridge that's laying on the ground right now. And
I don't know what was in there, it looks like it's broken.
if it's something old, I just
When we
didn't.
called Kansas 811 dig safe on that, it was a internet provider, but it appeared to be dead, but I had not gone any further on that, so.
We have payday on Friday. Can you give us an update Friday? They come Thursday. Would that work?
If,
With an
We'll
initial,
definitely have more information. by then.
additional evaluation and
It wouldn't require you to be in person either. You tell Tina and get the update that way. I mean,
or we
it's got
if we got payday Friday, then we could get some more information on the visit Thursday. Would that make sense at this point for,
I can sure shoot you a memo that gives you everything I know.
I think that would be adequate. The most we can do at this point. And get us a little more
quick.
what they think or a quick evaluation.
You know something. Maybe. All right.
Thank you.
There's another one out there.
Thanks, guys.
Clint.
All right.
And Cody.
Well, Cody and I are here today. I didn't know if you want us to come forward. I guess that's what everyone else is doing.
One of you got to sit there. I don't
Okay.
think the other one wants to sit.
I'm gonna
Time.
now. Okay, so wanted to provide an update. Understand that the commission's continuing to look at options. You know, is there a viable way to at least, you know, begin the process of kind of being on site? What could that look like logistically? Without maybe building all things at one time. And so I do believe it can be phased. There's a number of things that can be done in practice. You could at minimum build, and I would recommend construction of the shell of the building, insulated, kind of in place, maybe get the concrete foundations in, the rough fence even for plumbing, because we kind of have already kind of worked through the logistics of locations. You could rough those things in at a lower dollar per square foot than if you actually finish them out at this time. What I'm suggesting is the possibility, at least at the baseline, of a non-occupied but storage facility, essentially at this time. We have anticipated, we did a building in Topeka that was 9,000 square foot. It was about $70 a square foot, and that was in 2024. And it was primarily just an insulated metal building, concrete slab, heat only, very little electrical in it other than the heat, and then just some access approach on site. The site was different, of course. It wasn't a green site like this is, meaning undeveloped. But in that regard, I do think you have the possibility of getting a project in, and Cody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking you're looking at somewhere between, you know, under 300,000 to 450,000, depending on if you build the whole shell or part of the shell. And what I mean by that is there's a square footage requirement for the road bridge space, looking at operations for the bays and for the future build out of occupied space and restroom. And then you have the EMS piece, and it's kind of two bays essentially. So if you build one bay, I think you're gonna be approaching maybe just under that 300,000 value, depending on how much site work you do. We're anticipating at this point, I'm anticipating very little, if any, concrete on the site, but maybe gravel, AB3 kind of approaches, culvert at the entrance at this time, and then you can build out in the future. So if you do the whole shell, then in that case, I think you'd be looking at probably more somewhere towards the 450, including engineering fees and all the costs, I would think, probably something in that regard. Now, the county may elect to provide some site work. I know there was some discussions kind of about the bridges, like you could do some site prep for that. You may be able to do some site prep depending on your availability on the site itself, such as like, you know, the culvert and the approach entrance, and then we can kind of establish a minimum finished floor elevation based upon the existing grade there. So there might be some opportunities to save on what would be a contractor's cost. So I wanted to give that as an update to that. So what we would be proposing would be kind of a reduced scope that allows you to build out in the future. What this would not require you at this time to build out is that lateral field. It wouldn't require you to extend all the utilities like water and things like that to the building yet at this time. We do recommend, and the numbers I've kind of calculated quickly internally, and Cody could validate this and confirm if that's in the right range, would be at minimum, we're suggesting the shell, the concrete slab, the rough ends of the plumbing, stubbing them out of the building, essentially 4 feet, something like that, and stopping at that point. However, extending electrical overhead, you could go underground, at least to the building, and then provide just general lighting and switching and power convenience outlets of some sort. The caveat is if you want to heat the building, you may do so. You could add an electric heat or something like that to space heat, just to keep your equipment, at some ambient temperature, 50 degrees, 45, or what have you, if you even needed that at this stage. So I wanted to provide that as an update, as an option to the commission to consider.
So, what about the doors? Overhead doors and stuff, could we block out for them and put girts or purlins, Z-channel, whatever, in between the door blockouts? Then we wouldn't have to buy the doors, or is the doors the cheaper way to go once you've already blocked out for the door?
That's a good question, and you might speak more to that.
Yeah, you'd have a little bit of additional expense in the insulation and the wall panels and the girts that you would put in there.
So basically a wash, you go ahead and throw the door in right away?
How big of doors were they?
I think they were
12 by 14?
12 by 14, I think.
Yeah, 12 by 14 is like a $5,000 or $6,000 door. And you're probably looking at $2,500 in additional expense, maybe per opening, to fill that in.
You don't want to put garage doors on them?
I was just wondering, like, we were talking about post frame building for a minute there, where you could literally just go cut in a door wherever you felt like, and
We kind of needed to keep people out at night, don't we?
right. But so the metal, manufactured or engineered metal building is, man, I was having a step there, and you can't quite do the same things. You gotta. It's just like putting that bigger door over there at the fairgrounds. There's quite a bit of expense involved in making an opening bigger in a pre-engineered metal building, whereas a post frame it would be.
You could go ahead and put your frame in there for the door and then just fill it in with the girts. You'd have girts that go across there that would match the girts outside of the opening, and then insulation and a wall panel. And like I said, I would put it close to half the cost of the door and labor, material, what have you, to fill that in. Where you could utilize it at a later date.
And down the road, you got the cost of taking that out to put the door in, you still gotta put the door in, so are you really saving any money?
You gotta put the door in myself.
I would tell you that cost would include taking it back out then too.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that what we think would be important would be the idea that knowing where you're headed in the future is just roughing it and preparing it so that you have the flexibility to do as much or as little as you can at this point, if that makes sense in that regard.
One of the things that I thought about as Clint was talking about there is you could take it back a step further and you could make that end wall expandable and make it to where you could add on later and not do the storage area and or EMS area and add on later. Design the building to be expandable at that stage too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could build that one half and just basically not put in a demising wall down the way. You just leave that there and add the other building to it.
Well, you would have to have that, I would speculate, for fire reasons, right, Clint?
Yes, that's right.
And so you're not gonna hurt yourself by going ahead and completely finishing that end wall out as you would a normal building. And then when you add on your EMS portion,
You'll already have the tabs ready for the.
right, everything will be there to scab onto and make that addition. And then you're probably gonna be having to add a furred out framed wall with drywall on it anyway to get you to the fire rating that's needed between the two locations. So you're not hurting yourself, you're not wasting any money by making it expandable.
No, not at all. And it's not uncommon to do that opportunity of having the expandable end wall so you can expand. It's just planning now so that you do have that flexibility to to adjust and add on as you have the funding capabilities to do so.
And the difference is that would become a main frame. So if that was a normal end wall, you wouldn't have the clear span frame in there. It would be lighter gauge material with posts in there for your end wall. And in an expandable end wall, it would be a main frame like it was in the middle of the building.
And just to be really honest about all of what we've been talking about, you know, the board had talked about having Cody help us with some potential designs, but we weren't really sure exactly what that looks like. And also, you know, we would definitely benefit from, even if we don't use your full scope, Clint, having the grading plan and the foundations and all of that. So, I mean, they're looking to really economize on the building itself. So I'm just putting all that out there for everybody to kind of just be
No,
aware.
I like the proposed, it just, we need to make the dollar shrink and do only what we need to do. So,
With his design, what size is the road and bridge size by itself?
It's about 50 by, I think it's about by 80 maybe?
50 by 50.
That's 50 by 60 or 50 by 60. It's 50 by 60. That's right, because there's an additional 40 feet for the EMS.
Okay.
It's about 3,600 square foot approximately for that road bridge enclosure. And it was mostly open space. The only thing that was in the future is that they would have the need for a restroom and then a
Stairway to the mezzanine.
stairway to a mezzanine for, you know, mechanical and storage, and then a kind of a break space, a landing space for the crew members.
Yeah, all that stuff would be really easy to add later.
Are you thinking about a drive-through or this a one-way?
A drive-through, you mean a drive-through on each side?
Two doors, so
Yeah.
don't have to back in?
I think the original design had two grader spots.
It did.
Do we need two grader spots? Or just one?
We have two graders over there.
Okay. And then the other was a garage door for a pickup. And then the rest of that pickup space behind there was the bathroom and that.
And I believe you had changed the initial plan of having both of those greater spaces as drive-throughs to one of them being a drive-through and the other one not. The other one just being a back-end space. So,
With the thought of at least having one drive-through allowed you cross flow with air. Not quite a steel trap, but
Because they're going north to south,
so the building would be north and south,
so the
so
drive-through,
the drive-through
would
would
be east to west.
You could spin the whole thing.
was EMS.
EMS was on the south side.
Yeah, so they would be on the other side with a drive-through, doors on each side to drive through.
What we have proposed currently, our anticipation is that the BG would provide or be available to provide the slab, the foundations, the design of the underground plumbing, the electrical to the building, and then its distribution within the building. The building itself could be engineered by, if you have a manufacturer that you work with, Topline or somebody like that, they could be the source manufacturer, and they would provide engineering drawings specific to the vertical construction, if you will, in that regard. And those would be kind of the scopes of work in addition to the site layout and grading associated with the project. Those are kind of the scopes that we would provide, and then Cody's team could then take kind of that gap of difference between the building, the vertical piece, coordinating with their engineer, and they would provide us information on loading, so our engineer then could get the footing and foundation sizes the way they need. We would of course recommend a geotechnical report just for bearing on the soils in that regard. That would be something the county would pay for, but we'd recommend the locations, and we'd get requests from multiple sources to give you the lowest cost. Usually those are not more than $5,400 And if you have something else going in the area, sometimes they're less in those regards.
Cody's got a lot going on.
So, that was the intent of my information to present to you today, is I do think that there is a viable way to get your equipment into that building, knowing that as you look into the future and build out, that you at least don't have to tear out concrete and kind of go back in and kind of fix that. Obviously, we can't forecast what you might see, 20 years down the road, if you have a period of time to wait for those scopes. But again, we think you'll be in a good spot. One thing we have done, just as a note, and I'm sure, Cody, you've done this before, on occasion, we'll rough into the slab and we'll actually cut out an area, not really cut it out, but we'll kind of block it out that remains sand with the edge of the concrete, and that's where we have the rough-ins at, so that if you end up moving the restrooms 3 feet this way, 4 feet that way, you have the flexibility. I don't know that that's what you want. What we'd anticipate right now is just taking them up, capping them in that regard, and just having it all ready so that when you do move forward in the future, all you got to do is connect the pieces and parts to save you funding costs in the future.
What's everybody's thoughts?
Should say, but they build it or not. Do you find the money?
We have some money in the budget, depending on how you do this and how much you spend.
How much?
I also talked to both Cody and Clint about, instead of a pre-engineered metal building type, of doing the pole barn idea where it's a wood frame like you all talked about. So does that make a difference on, I know when Cody was talking about it, we were talking about the timing could be potentially quicker.
Yes.
But does that make a difference on, does the metal building provider still provide engineering?
I would want Clint's support on that as far as the engineering side. Trusses are engineered, but outside of that, nothing else is engineered. Okay. And we could just have a honestly real quick check on that stuff from your end.
It's outside city limits, so there's no real authority having jurisdiction as far as wind load, snow load.
Well, they're still designed to a certain wind load and snow load. They're just not stamped and verified.
Okay.
But we work with those manufacturers of the trussing as they do the engineering for that, because that piece is, like we said, that part's engineered. It's just taking that load down the vertical supports, the framing wall. Most of the services on our end will really remain pretty much identical between the two options. Just the loading is slightly different. With a pre-engineered metal building, you just have a few select areas where there's a lot of load coming and uplift being considered. On a pole barn, it's more of a continuous bearing, if you would, along the length of the building. So
instead of 30s.
Right. Yeah. So, but both are great solutions. I'd recommend either one as far as their durability over time. As long as the building enclosure is suitable, they will last for decades.
I'd like to move forward possibly on my end with the wood structure, time-wise and cost-wise, and the flexibility of how we box it in, one way or the other. My thought.
Your quotes are doing it both ways with iron and wood.
I can I'm happy to run a cost analysis and look at them both.
Yeah, both.
I could collaborate with Clint a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of know. $70 for one way and $60 the other.
Well, and one thing to mention too is that 70 was in 24 was a pre-engineered metal building as a comparison. Usually we find that the wood is a little bit less, but I know things have been a little bit different with wood availability and cost.
Yeah, your basic savings is, you got a little bit of a savings on the steel. Obviously, there's a wood involved and no steel. And then the bigger, more significant cost of foundation, you don't virtually have a foundation.
You got a slab on.
Slab only.
But you'd wanna thicken that. You'd wanna thicken that around the edges at least.
Yeah, I would want, I'd probably recommend, knowing that you're gonna run big equipment through those doors, I'd put a footing underneath the doors, underneath the slab. And probably put a thickened edge around the perimeter of the slab. But outside of that, I don't think it needs any actual foundations or anything like that.
Foundation.
And Clint can correct me if I'm wrong, but like in a post frame situation, your biggest thing from an engineering standpoint is uplift. Cause those are big kites and you gotta have them anchored in the ground well, and that's the biggest part of your engineering is wind loads.
Wedges, reverse wedges.
Yeah, essentially that is correct, yeah. So really what we're doing is weighting the building down, even in both scenarios actually, quite frankly.
So I did give them, the cost proposal for just doing the shell and with the grading and all of that you sent. So that's it's on exhibit 2.
For the engineering.
For the engineering piece,
You put the building in for that, we'd be voting already and get done.
Yeah, I know. You don't have questions about that proposal, and is there any difference on what you submitted? It would just be, that top number is not accurate.
Yeah, I do apologize.
Crossed
The
out.
top number was for the full build out that we had originally prepared a proposal for, if you remember finishing it out and all the scope with that. So this adjustment would equate to the cost for construction. We do have everything as a lump sum fee. The variance of that, or the difference, is the construction contract administration. In reality, construction costs, efforts of administration vary depending on the contractor in many ways on our engagement. We have great experience working together as companies, and so I just put that down as an hourly thing with a maximum not to exceed, just for some site visits, just to confirm and validate the construction, installation, review of submittals, and so forth. And then also there were 2 options in there. One was a cost of the structure just to extend the pre-engineered metal building or the pole barn building, that additional, 2,000 square foot or whatever it is, just the engineering of the foundations and footings for that and the underground slab plumbing. And then we had just a one cost for HVAC. If you wanted to solely just have a heater unit in the space or a couple of units in the space, just as an option, we provided you a value for that as well. Again, knowing this is just enough to get you in that facility, to get vehicles in and out, and still have flexibility to build it out in the future.
So yeah, I think I'm with Dave here.
Can you have something by November 10th,
As far as a
estimate?
a ballpark on this one versus that one, or?
I think so. I think I'd want to have, so what I'm hearing, a pre-engineered metal building versus a post-frame construction.
Pre-engineered metal building, the expanded wall, or both of them? Both of them would be expanded.
Yeah, both of them.
Well, the wood would be different, but yeah, same difference. It would.
Yeah, it's naturally expandable.
So maybe at least plan on just at least the road bridge piece.
Yeah.
And then use that as a comparison right now per square foot. Absolutely. And I will get code, if it's all right with the commission, I'd like to share the plan layout that we had and documents with Cody so that he can see the scope of what that project would look like. And then is the intent for us, you would like us to return on the 10th of November to update the commission at that time?
It's ample time.
I believe that's.
Yeah, I'm good with that. A few things, just to narrow that down. Do you wanna go with the drawn scope that he has? Do we wanna scale that back? Do we wanna, so we talked about just rough in only for the plumbing? Yeah. And then we would,
Minimal electric.
how far back do we wanna scale the site? Just entrance only and pad only, entrance to the site. And then approach in front of the building to get in one side. Both sides, there's some things there that we
We
can.
almost wanna do it all. Site, I don't know.
The approach in, we need a 40-foot culvert, cause you're gonna have trucks coming in and
So
out.
just one entrance
We're gonna have two eventually.
eventually.
You have one for EMS, and you got one for the,
We could do the north one
for
now.
the county trucks.
Do the north one now and do the south one when you add on to the.
So one entrance only leading up to the building pad, and then you're gonna wanna have something on at least one side of the building.
Yeah.
So that you can pull in and pull out and back out and turn around.
Would you like that approach to be AB3, or do you want it to be paved surfacing as concrete at this time?
AB3, but
This time?
I think put more on Steve, but I think we could do the approach. And we'll put in culverts for field entrances all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, it's one of those things that you do, and we recognize that, if you wanted us to do the engineering on that, our engineer can show it. If you just want a placement, our engineer can just show the placement, and then you take care of the logistics of its installation. That's something we could coordinate too.
And it had 6 overhead doors.
So it had, well,
Right,
Road and Bridge only had 5.
yeah, Road and Bridge only had 5. Yes.
Or wait, 1, 2, 3, 4.
you got a big one,
Yeah, there was 2.
There was 4
There was a drive-through, there was a single,
in the truck.
and the truck.
we're gonna have 2 drive-throughs.
And if you'd like, at this time, we can budget for all the doors to be installed, and then we can coordinate if you'd like us to pull some of those back and just frame them in.
Yeah.
That way you at least know what that value looks like.
4 overhead doors.
One was a smaller, this would be like a normal vehicle.
Yeah, like a 10 by 10. And then electrical will bring the electrical service to the site. Put in the panel that would be needed for the service and panel needed for future expansion.
We need 200 amp service with block heaters probably.
I don't know, you probably already kind of got, we can size that.
Yeah. But I think you're right.
Just to make sure we've got plenty. For the block heaters. Especially if there's another 1 or 2 down there that are plugged in. Make sure
Yeah,
that.
that would be one thing that you really would have to spend up front.
If you didn't heat the building, you
Expand later is have the
want
service side sized properly.
Make sure the pulse is absolute.
And I could give an idea on maybe just putting a unit heater in there. Propane unit heater, then you can just set a tank and we'll stub out to the outside of the building so you can connect to a tank and put 1 heater in there just as an add, so.
If that moves at the road, do you know?
I don't.
I think they
Yeah,
are.
it's on the other side of the road, but there's a gas line right there.
definitely wanna.
We're gonna use it rather than propane or tank.
Well, I'm just thinking on keeping the site costs down. I don't know if Atmos would if it's across the road, there may be some cost there to get it to your side of the road, but then they would take it probably to the building for a meter and that wouldn't cost you anything. We'll check.
It'd be considerably cheaper in the long run to use their gas than propane stove. If it's more upfront.
Good enough? Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're trying to, sorry, we're trying, I really liked what you put together, we just, like I said, we gotta make it fit a smaller number for a minute.
And that's not a problem, that's common to the process. Again, just knowing where you are headed, we can set in place those things that'll help you facilitate that moving forward when you do have the funding in place. And that's really what this exercise is about. It's getting you there and getting you in the facility so you can build out in the future. Thank you.
Yep, get it started. Thanks, Cody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Blaine.
We'll maybe switch the last two items.
Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and just, since we're already 2:30 and the sheriff is out there, we're gonna go with sheriff. Yeah. We're behind.
We were trying to debate how old that building is in that picture. It's set off over here to the side of the courthouse. Does anybody know?
Building that's set off to the
Have to
side.
look at
The
the,
building over here that was a limestone building in this picture.
Oh.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out when it was.
Next to the jail, over there?
it's probably before the jail was there.
It's probably before the jail.
For me.
Yeah, we asked Tom. Tom didn't know either.
Tom knows everything.
Yeah. All right.
I've got some here.
Is that what we wanna do first?
This will probably be partially enclosed and partially in open, so we do the closed session
Okay.
first.
All right, I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss security measures currently in place pursuant to KSA 75-4390B-13 or matters related to security measures with the board, Sheriff Soyuz, Jim Philpott, Tina, and Ashley for 15
Should be
minutes till 2:48.
2:48.
With open session to resume back at commission chambers following the closed session. Second, all those in favor? Aye. Aye.
Discussion doesn't happen unless we start it, and you're 100% right, Mike. We gotta start the discussion before we can come up with a solution. So,
We on?
Yep, we're on.
All right. Out of executive session, no decisions made. We need to go back in, or we got topics to talk about in open session?
I'm good now. Like I said before, I said we don't start the discussion, it won't happen. I know in the past you guys have been looking at security. I think SD would be a good place to start. Visit with them, see what kind of hours are there. Until we get manpowered up, I don't know yet. That's where I'm at with it. So,
I just, like I said, I appreciate what we have in place. If the security we've got upstairs, sometimes I wouldn't expect you to have somebody here from 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock during this meeting, but once a month, if one of your deputies happens to be heading out, walk through the courthouse, just,
and we make rounds to the courthouse sometimes during the week.
and that is a big deterrent. Just if they don't know when or where.
That's a good idea. I mean, yeah, as long as we're not predictable.
Right.
You
And
know,
that's,
make it around every hour.
yeah, just
My
random.
staff could be in and out all day long, but my staff's not armed, so, but there's a lot of times I come over if we have like more than like 2 people coming to court. There's times I'll come over, you know, and help shuffle people around, stuff like that. We're in and out, so.
And usually the undersheriff and myself have business over here. The one thing I will say, like with Tina, is that if there's something on your guys' meeting that is could be very volatile or contentious, she lets us know, it's like, hey, this is kind of a heated subject. you might wanna be available this day. We get that, we're more than happy to come over and do that.
And there's times other offices in this building will call and say, hey, this person's coming up here to pay their tags or taxes or something, and they've had issues before. So they'll give us a call and say, hey, can you just have somebody kind of over here,
You don't have to out me like that.
Of all the places, that usually happens at the tag office the most. We just go
They're
sit
in
in
the
the back.
appraiser's office every now
We
and
go
then.
sit in the back and just wait.
Yeah.
So,
I'm still a big believer that the best deterrent is nobody knows who's actually carrying it.
amen.
I have a question, Jeff. Are we short-staffed to the point where a report comes in, it doesn't generate an officer going to take that report?
We're close, but we're down to some shifts, one patrol guy a shift.
And you know, like if it's not an emergency, I can see it the next day or something, your officer would call and say, hey, I can't get out today, can I get out tomorrow or the next day? I turned in a report last week. I never had a response.
What was it about?
An officer called me. I told him what I had.
That was the.
He said, I'll be right out.
That was the trespass guy of the hunting on the.
Well, it was either poaching or vagrancy.
So he went, that individual, he did go speak with the owner of that property.
Right, which knew nothing about it, because
He,
he doesn't live out there.
yeah, he went and visited with him about it.
Called me up and said, what's going on, so.
Oh, did he?
Right.
I imagine he probably just went to the landowner and said, hey, I wanna know if there's supposed to be anybody out.
But he had my name and my phone number.
I know what deputy is, I'll ask him if he.
He was talking so fast I could not get his name. He needs to slow down.
Probably Landis Goodman.
So that sounds like mine.
Yeah, but no, like if we have an emergency, we got enough manpower to handle the
Yeah,
emergencies.
but that didn't go,
We had three
that didn't go over
emergencies.
very big with me and my neighbors, I'm just telling you.
Okay.
Okay, also, when we've got hitchhikers on the road and somebody calls in for, like to check on them, do we do that?
So it's not against the law to walk down the state.
I understand that, but.
If we have somebody available, we do send somebody out there. 2 times ago, we sent, it almost ended up in a violent fight. They don't wanna be messed with. They're walking
Well,
over, they wanna be left.
Chances
alone.
are, I'm just looking at the human aspect of it.
Most time, yes, they're checked on, and if they'll let us, we'll take them
To the county line.
to the county line.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
we've went as far as go to Newton, we've went as far as go to McPherson,
Well,
you know.
I'm just wondering.
Depending on like the
I'm just
weather and
wondering
stuff, I'm not
because
gonna drop somebody out in the middle of nowhere when it's.
We had a
0
guy on
degrees outside.
56 that came through Marion County at the end of last week that
Yeah,
I saw him and I thought maybe he had some mental issues. And
he wouldn't, when
yeah, he got
Bruce
over,
checked on
he
him,
got
he would
over to
not have
McPherson
anything.
County, and McPherson County, somebody called McPherson and they would not go out and check.
Yeah, they, so we have one, that's probably the same guy. He travels through here every year, twice a year. He'll tell us, he says, every county's checked me 3 times. I'm tired of being checked. I just wanna walk down the roadway. And we tell him, I'm like, hey, we're just here. Most of the time we cruise out there, give him a bottle of water.
Just a safety check, yeah.
And tell him, you can't be out on the blacktop. You gotta be over here on the shoulder. But, yeah,
Walking through Saturday?
I just wondered how,
I don't know about that.
not just you guys, but kind of
That was
law
one.
enforcement in general handled that, because you see that happening once in a while. And
Well, Larry picked one up the other day, it was on North 77. Bruce went and checked on him, and Bruce didn't have enough room in his vehicle for the crap the guy had. So Larry took his pickup out there and took him over towards McPherson and dropped him off over there.
And
And what we do is we always, if we check them, whichever direction they're going, we'll have our dispatch contact their dispatch, say, hey, this guy, he's wearing this, he's carrying this. We checked him, we didn't find anything, he's just coming through the area. So that way they know, okay, 1, we've dropped somebody off in their location, and 2, that he's been checked.
A lot of times we'll try to get a hold of their county and see if they'll just meet us at the county line. We'll transfer from our vehicle to their vehicle. If they say they're going 2 counties over, then maybe, I know it's kind of using taxpayer money to get people out of the area, but also if you give them,
Dispatch 15 phone calls.
saves dispatch 15 phone calls, saves somebody's house maybe getting broken in the middle of the night if it gets cold enough or something. So yeah, it's just something we do. It's been done ever since I've been.
Precaution,
somebody
the
hit-
whole situation.
On the side of the road, just if the vehicle clips them, that just ruins two people's freaking day right there.
Yeah.
And then a whole bunch of officers and everybody else that have to deal with it.
Additional resources that can be avoided.
Like I say, I seen somebody was watching somebody Saturday, so I think it was Hillsborough was watching.
Is that it?
You done? All right, I think we're good.
All right, guys. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Let me get back to your post and make sure I'm safe. Make sure you can watch my back.
Yeah. He said the camera won't zoom in.
You say watch it block my head. All right, so we're gonna go back to the 215 item. Move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss real estate acquisition pursuant to KSA 75-4319B, item number 6, for preliminary discussions of acquisition of real estate. Ford and Tina present for
10 minutes?
10 minutes. Until 3:07. With open session to resume back in commission chambers following the closed session.
Second.
Second, all those in favor? 5-0.
Okay.
All right, out of executive session, no decisions made.
I move to authorize County Administrator Tina Spencer to bid on the property located at 309 East 9th Street in Peabody with a total maximum bid, which would include the buyer's premium not to exceed $120,000.
Second it.
You said 120?
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Aye. 3-2. All right. Includes, so it's commission comments. I did skip over outside board reports if anybody has one of those. Good thing I did.
Outside board reports, just a CDDO meeting last week. With the conflict issues with providers and assessors doing the same thing for individuals that has been an issue for years and finally starting to get addressed at the state level. The CDDO originally had about 40 individuals that were conflicted. They're down to 2, and they hope to have those 2 resolved by the end of this month. So by November 1st, we'll be the first CDDO in the state to actually comply with those non-conflict legislation that's been in place for a long time and never addressed. So anyway, Kevin has done a super job of getting that taken care of and actually quite rapidly. He was shocked at how quick they got through all that, so.
Any other?
I think we're aware that one of the patches on 290th west of Lincolnville is already failed.
They didn't want you in.
Could you repeat that?
You're good.
Steve even mentioned that one of the patches is failing on 290th west of Lincolnville. It's pumping water up out of it.
KAC's on Wednesday, just let you know.
You mean your KAC
My
board
KAC.
meeting? Okay.
9 o'clock on Friday morning, right?
Yes,
Nothing-
payday.
And nothing next Monday.
Right, no meeting on Monday.
Alrighty. Anything else?
The disaster declaration, did we need to do anything with it?
Oh, you did that. That was
Signed
the,
one.
Just a copy.
Okay.
yeah, I just put it there so you could read it
Yeah.
before you adopted it.
Motion to adjourn.
Second
Second. All those in favor?
it.
Aye. 5-0.
We all missed the meeting, I'm not